Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ideanthro. I wanted to take the opportunity today to share with you an observation that I've made over time about how weeds get started in bioretention systems, or one particular way that they get started. So I'm out at a relatively large bioretention system here, and this is a reasonably good example of it. And this is an example of how weeds get started around the inlets of bioretention systems. So I'm going to talk you through this system here. So first up, an introduction to the system. So it's pretty big. So we can see the system starting in shot there, flows all the way around here in the foreground. You can see all the lomandras and the isolepsis and stuff. You can see it running away from me there. And then just in shot on the right behind the basketball court is the outlet to this system. Now there's actually another bit that's hydraulically separate over there, but the outlet's behind the bioretention system. So we can see that it's pretty big. It's over 1,000 square meters of filter media. Which raises some questions about its size, but that's not the point of this discussion today. And in terms of inlets, we've got a big inlet just in the middle of shot there. We have another one here, and there's another one in the middle of shot in the corner where the system turns the bend, and before it heads to the right, there's another inlet there. Now the desirable plant species in this particular system are lomandras, like this one here. We also have Ideanthro, which is this plant there. And what we see here is now, clearly it's not getting a heck of a lot of maintenance because there are weeds in amongst it everywhere. But in this section here, which is not near any of the inlets, you can see, like for example, lots of the light coloured lomandras dotted all the way through the system there. And I'm not sure if you can pick it up in the video, but I can see it in real life here. There's lots of the Phacinia dotted in amongst the lomandra, and then some other grassy species that have just come in, and therefore we term them to be weeds, jumping up in the middle of that, right? Now let's contrast that if we come over here to the inlet. Okay, look at this, much different. There's still a few lomandras in there, but far fewer of them. And it's just filled in with other nondescript, non-planted grass species, like so. We've also got some typha. I'll try and point that out to you there. Where's my finger? Some typha, which is growing there. That wasn't planted and has come in where it's holding some water. And so this is an example. This happens time and time again in bioretention systems. It's something to watch out for from a maintenance point of view. So this system was planted out nicely. It had some troubles during planting out, but eventually it got planted out really nicely. Stuff got reasonably well established. And from my observation, I think it's getting less maintenance than would be ideal. And so what we've got happening over time is this creep, where we're having weed seeds come in with the stormwater from these inlets to the system, getting deposited in the front of the media as that water slows down. The seeds are dropping out, landing in the filter media, and growing up. Now those weeds are very vigorous, and they start to outcompete the desirable vegetation like the lomandras and the isolepsis, and they start to take over, and then they slowly creep down the system. I think it'd be a fairly safe bet that if we came back to this system in a year's time, instead of the transition point being about here, where we see it going from weedy on the left to not too bad on the right with just some weeds, I bet you we'd start to see the transition further down this way as the weeds slowly creep further and further into the system. And if it's left unchecked, eventually they'll take over. And the problem with that is, well, the weeds will do something for treatment, right? So it's not entirely a problem, but they're not as aesthetic. Eventually someone will probably complain about them. Council will eventually come in and decide to maintain this system, and they'll spray out or they'll pull out those weeds, and we'll be left with a bare patch. And we'll have to spend money to replant, and it's much more expensive to replant than it is to do the simple preventative maintenance to knock off these weeds while they're small. Because if we got in here while the weeds are really small, right? For example, in this section here, if we got in and weeded here now, you'd still have a relatively solid cover of the isolepsis of the Phacinia nodosa. Isolepsis is its old name, Phacinia nodosa, and the lomandra. And so you might need to do a little bit of pocket replanting in here just to fill it out a little bit, but generally it would come up okay. But this front end, when we removed all the weeds here, you'd be left with a massive bare patch and you'd have to spend lots of money fixing that up. Okay, cool. I hope that's demonstrated something, sorry about my hand in the shot there, something useful for you today. If you want to know more about what it is that we do at Ideanthro, you can find us online. You can also send us a message if there's particular things that you'd like to know more about. If you've got questions about water sensitive urban design, bioretention systems, wetlands, maintenance, design, all this sort of stuff, you can send us a message. You can find our contact details on the website, which is ideanthro.com. You can also find us on Facebook. You can send us a message through there and you can like the page. That is facebook.com/Ideanthro. And you can find us on YouTube, where we post all our episodes and all our videos. Cool. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.